This is just in Japan on a bike, and this is 6 weeks, exactly 6 weeks since I got my new hang on, what's that noise? All right, well, they're interrupting me with the, what is it, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, I don't know. I'm at a farmer's market in Kanagawa. Not here for the farmer's market, but it's a lovely place, lovely spot. And this is Lake Miyagase. Usually this is a very popular biker spot, and what you're looking at now is usually full of motorbikes, but today one guy's just left. Looks like I'm the only bike here at the moment. It's well, it is a weekday, but also the weather is putting people off. It's not raining, but I think the forecast was for rain, and most people seem to be fair weather riders. I get my chance to ride my bike on a Thursday, and I get other chances, but Thursday's my best chance to ride my bike. And I was determined to ride it regardless of the weather. Now I've got all the full rain gear, and I've got these new waterproof winter gloves, because the winter gloves that I wore last week when I was riding in the storm were like sponges, and they soaked up all the water, and then they split on me. But they were over 20 years old, I think, so I just threw them away, and I bought some new ones on Amazon, very cheap. The reviews are good. The reviews claim they are 100% waterproof. Watch out, because a lot of claims of being waterproof are false. So 6 weeks since I got the bike. I mentioned in the last video that I had dropped the bike. Well, I fell off it actually, but it was, so I'll show you the damage. There's a bit of damage here, if you can see that, some scratches on the fairing, not dented, just scratched, and also there's some scratches on the silencer there, on the back of the exhaust. Now the foot peg had to be replaced. Looks like might be some damage on the brake pedal there, but the foot peg snapped off. You can see some damage here. The brake lever snapped off, that was replaced, and the indicator cluster here, the indicator assembly was replaced, that's smashed to pieces. First time in 31 years of riding a bike that I've ever dropped a bike. Well, as I said, I actually fell off it, and I shall give more details later about that. But suffice it to say, I'm okay. So 6 weeks, and I noticed that I mentioned in a previous video that the fuel tank was 15 litres. I think that was a mistake. I need to check, because I still haven't checked it. I said I would check it and let you know. But basically, the reason I thought that was because when I went to the filling station, the fuel light was flashing, and the dealer said to me, you should go as fast as possible to, well, as soon as possible to fill up, because the fuel is very low. And I filled up, and I filled up just under 15 litres. But because the fuel light was flashing, I just assumed that there was almost nothing left in the tank. So that's why I came to the logical conclusion that the tank took 15 litres. However, I'm really sorry I haven't checked it yet, but I'm going to check it again. I will check it, and but anybody can check that information. So I guess that the fuel light flashes when you've got plenty to go. That's all I can assume. So I'm probably going to repeat myself a bit. So for example, I will repeat the fact that the handling is superb, and bearing in mind when I got it, the tyres were not really worn in. So I've done over 600 kilometers. The bike is still not running. Getting used to it, getting more confident on the bike. One thing I'll say is the speed's quite deceptive. It definitely doesn't feel like it's going as fast as what the speedo says, and it's really easy. There's been videos and stuff about the throttle response on this and the unfaired version, just the GSX-S without the F, that the throttle response is very snatchy, and apparently they sorted that out after a couple of 2 or 3 years. No, it's not snatchy for me, so that must have been sorted, but it is quite sensitive, and it's not snatchy, but it's amazing that a very slight move of the throttle does make you feel that the bike is running away from you. Now, I'm not, as I said before, I'm not a sports bike expert. This is my first sports bike. Indeed, some would say it isn't truly a sports bike. Well, it isn't a race replica. A couple of other things. Well, I mean, I'll say it again. I think the exhaust note is lovely. I think the sound of the engine is quite interesting. It whines a little bit, which apparently is characteristic of the Suzuki K5 engine. That's the old GSX-R engine from 2005, which is apparently legendary and all that. I didn't know all that when I bought the bike, by the way. Well, I watched a lot of videos on it, I did a lot of research on it, and I've said that some things seem a bit budget. So I have to say that the niggly thing, like I mentioned about the cheap plastic, I mean, that might just be niggly and unfair, because let's be honest, for the price, nothing comes close to this for the price. Certainly not when I was looking, and certainly from the research I've done, you can't get a bike of this performance for anywhere near this kind of money. And I think that's really where this bike excels. It's value for money, because it's got the pedigree, it's got the performance. Okay, it doesn't have all the latest electronic gizmos, but for me, coming from old school bikes, it's got it's got traction control. That is, for me, an electronic gizmo that I've never had before. ABS, I've had a bike, yeah, I've had ABS. I had that on the BMW before, and it doesn't have, as far as it doesn't have like settings for the bike performance. It doesn't have like performance settings such as economy or sports or track mode, nothing like that, which of course is probably another reason why it's so good, such good value for money. I don't need any of that. I'm always going to ride the bike the same way, well, except when the weather's bad, perhaps, or I'm stuck in traffic, I suppose. But with the traction control, you set that to affect the throttle response, especially low down. So if you set the traction control to number 3, which is rain setting, then I think that it will be a bit like having say a city mode, or like riding in traffic mode or something like that. So wheelie control, apparently it stops you doing wheelies, the traction control. I'm never going to do wheelies. I've never done a wheelie, not deliberately. I've done them accidentally on hard acceleration, not on this bike yet. I don't plan on doing any wheelies. So I'll mention a couple of other things again. The screen is low, so it is a sports bike. I do feel that the wind is being channeled towards my head if I lean forward slightly. Otherwise it's sort of neck, maybe the top of your chest. I should say that I didn't mention before my height. I'm not a huge person. I'm a sort of an average sized person. I'm 180 centimeters, that's 5'11". My legs are slightly long in proportion to my torso, so my inside leg measurement is 33 inches, and therefore I think somebody taller than me may find the I don't know. I wouldn't want to be more than a couple of inches taller with this bike, to be honest, because I can just about, also your legs, if your legs are longer, if your inside leg measurement is more than say 33 inches, you might feel the position slightly cramped. I find the upper, like the reach is fine for me. Actually, I find the riding position fine. I'm just thinking of if you are a particularly big person, you may find this bike is not suitable for you. But then you'd find that out as soon as you sat on it in the showroom. The riding position for me, as I mentioned before, is fine. I do find I slide forward a little bit, but that might be my own riding style that is not really used to such a bike. I don't know. And this has just really been an update. It's a lovely place, by the way. Really glad it isn't raining today. It's going to rain apparently. They keep telling us it's going to rain, but frankly, if you're worried about rain, you wouldn't own a motorbike in Japan because it rains all the time. It's an atrocious climate. It's really not, you know, given the country has got 4 amazing motorbike manufacturers, and they make, you know, what essentially are probably the best, generally speaking, the best bikes in the world, in terms of reliability and value for money and all the rest of it, and just production and stuff like that. But they make amazing bikes, but they don't have the climate which is conducive to fully enjoying motorcycling. So it's quite interesting that. So there we are. So 6 weeks today. Still haven't reached the 1,000 kilometer period. Frankly, I find going up to 5,000 as well, I would take it a little bit over that, but I can't imagine more than about 7,000 RPM on just the regular roads. I'm going to have to look into some sort of track day, or if it's possible to ride on a track, just to test out the full performance of the thing and see what's involved in all that. But I doubt that's going to happen anytime soon. So I'm going to make another video and a podcast later just to explain that stupid mistake where I fell off the bike. The bike's looking a bit dirty because, as I said, I was riding in a storm last week. We had a typhoon around here, and just the typhoon did a U-turn. Luckily it didn't hit us full on, it was out at sea, but I was riding in a storm to the dealer, and they wanted to change the oil, but because it hadn't done 1,000 kilometers, I said please wait, I'll come back. So the oil was an interesting one. I'll go for the full-on Motul. I think it's called Motul 300V is one of the options they do. Suzuki recommended. Suzuki have got some sort of relationship with Motul performance oils, and Motul 300V, I think it's called, seems to be the best one. I'm going to go for the full best oil that money can buy. Yeah, there we are. This has been Just in Japan on a bike. Thanks.